hard to find where we lived, in North suburban Atlanta. They hadn't been hard to find anywhere we'd lived. But it wasn't just a fight against pills now. Connor's addiction had quickly evolved to heroin. That's what happens when people like Connor can't find or afford the pills anymore. They buy a heroin shot on the street for $5. The scourge of our nation is cheaper than a six-pack of beer. Connor knew kids who had overdosed and died from heroin. His good friend was found overdosed with a needle stuck in his arm in the basement of his parents' home. It didn't stop him from using, and we never saw it until it was too late. Have you planned his funeral? The doctor's words echoed in our heads. Kirsten and I mustered the energy for what we believed would be one last time, one last chance for Connor to stay clean. He had been hospitalized, sent to residential treatment centers, lived in intensive outpatient sober living homes, completed an outpatient program, moved across the country for a change of scenery and to try a new program. Now, at our wits' end, we were taking him to a methadone clinic. Every week, we put Connor and a clunky toolbox outfitted with a silver padlock in the car. He lugged the box into the clinic, where the nurse administered that day's dose, and then placed the rest of the week's supply in the box for Connor to take at home. She watched as Connor locked the box and left the clinic. We thought it was working, believed it was working, wanted to believe it was working. Connor's liver enzymes even went up a bit, but this was before there was a cure for Hep C, and when his enzymes dropped again, he collapsed. We brought him to the emergency room, where he stayed for 2 weeks. He needed a liver transplant. The doctor at the hospital told us if he did this again, he was dead. We know, we said. We are trying to get his enzymes up. We thought, believed, wanted to believe he was just talking about the Hep C. We had thought, believed, wanted to believe the methadone was working. Turned out, Connor was still using. After all we had been through and continued to go through, after all we missed and vowed never to miss again, we still didn't see it. How many times had I denied he could possibly have a problem, even when Connor didn't try to hide it? Early in his using, I found him passed out in the hall in the middle of the night and thought maybe he was just exhausted, or, at worst, learning a typical teenage lesson from drinking too much. He said he needed to go to the hospital, and I said, "Get up, you're okay." I didn't know what was going on. I didn't want to know. I was insensitive to his complaints. I figured he was faking an illness. That's what I believed. That's what I told Connor. Even when he told me that his chest hurt, I dismissed that as the phantom pain of the hypochondriac. He wasn't. Instead of the addict, he was. I never took Connor to the hospital that night. I learned later that he had mixed opiates and amphetamines in excess, and the combination had made him feel like something was wrong in his heart. He was 17 years old and had been using for more than a year. I denied the truth. Maybe because we had settled in suburban Atlanta, where you don't think about the problems behind the manicured lawns and nice front doors. Maybe he was hiding it well behind his good grades and friends who looked anything but shady, as if only shady kids use during the opioid crisis that still haunts us today. Maybe I simply did not want to admit it, like so many parents who live in denial and lie to themselves. Maybe all that would be true for most parents, but it shouldn't have been for me. As Connor sat in his hospital bed, I knew I had not done everything to help him. I was living with more than just denial of Connor's addiction, more than fear of Connor's death. I was hiding something from him and his brother Liam, as I had from almost every